contraction, and then blah, 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 others. Yeah, that's what we just said. That's the picture explaining all that. I'm gonna say, come here, do your thing. Large or leaky. That's what mediators cause, is inflammation. What's inflammation? Large or leaky. Okay. Fancy words here. I'm gonna get large or leaky. Hyperemia, right? Lots of blood. Hyperemia, right? If my pipes get bigger, more blood will come to that area. If more blood comes to the area, it should let me see rubor, right? Redness, especially if I have very light skin, I can see it easy. And the tissue should get warmer, that would be the calor. So that explains two of those cardinal signs. Through hyperemia, remember, large vessels, vasodilated vessels bring more blood, causes redness and heat. The leakiness part, increased capillary permeability, right? The leakiness part causes exudate to come out. This will lead to swelling, tumor, also known as edema, and possibly pain if it pushes on a local nerve. So this is just the explanation for why do we have rubor, calor, tumor, dolica, tumon. Right after 3, Mom. Okay, tumor, dolar, rubor, calor. I won't ask you to explain it, but if there are ABCD questions, that I can wiggle those in there that way. So remember, all this is caused by large and leakiness. Largeness causes more blood. Red, hot. Leaky causes swelling. That's going to expand the tissue, causing tumor and pain. Possibly if it pushes on a nerve. And then around and around and around and around and around. Key terms here. I'm not going to do this one. I kind of just, breezed over these terms a minute ago, but here's got some really good, some really good definitions for these. So I used the picture I drew. Crank all these slides into one idea. I'm not going to ask a ton of questions about it, but eventually it starts going around and around and around. Nice picture from the book. What causes inflammation? Tissue damage. What does the tissue do? Scream out a warning. What are all these blue things? Iams, right? Inflammatory mediators like kinins and prostaglandins and histamines. And they cause white cells to come over. What's the come over here called? Chemotaxis. Once they get to the area, you're outside, you can't get me, haha, what do I do? Yeah, I can marginate. I can squeeze through diaphoresis. Okay, there it is. Big scary thing. Skip it. You can look at it when you're ready for the test. When you're ready for the test and you pick that up and it doesn't make sense, you are not ready for the test. Pus, of course, is exactly the way you would think it is. There's a battle that just happened, and this is what's left over. So what's going to be there? Dead cells, dead white cells, dead enemy cells, wounded things. I mean, it's a battlefield. Broken machinery and all kinds of pieces, parts, and blood and death and guts. That's what pus is. It's mostly water filled with dead cells. An abscess is right there, a walled off ball of pus. If you have a battlefield happen and you have dead cells all over the place and murdered bodies and pieces, parts, and for some reason the body closes that off, because remember, part of inflammation is, let me go over there, prevent spread. So some of this inflammation, you actually build walls around battlefields so it doesn't spread around. And that's exactly what an abscess is a ball of pus that's been walled off. And it can't do anything, it's stuck there. So sometimes you have to get in and stick a needle in there and suck all that fluid out of the abscess. That's the two terms, very simple terms, but okay, that's the problem. Hey, what? Thought this was at the end. Okay. Still got a ways to go. Check for inflammation now, got it. Let's do interferons now, the very last one I had on the list. Usually the last one in the chapter, I don't know how it got snuck up here, but this is a fairly simple story. I can draw a picture for this one and be done with it in about 5 minutes. So let's draw a couple cells downtown here. Oh, it's too small. Give them a big nucleus so I can look inside. Here's a partner. 2 cells in the body. Host, we'll call that guy. Neighbor, anybody see the numbers for coronavirus today? 60,000 today. It was 15,000 overnight, new cases. one night.
There's like 15.
There's someone in Texas
US
now too. Someone in Texas, 1,300 deaths now. Oh, it's a thing. It's a thing. Okay, host, what does that imply? It's not good to be a host, is it? Who are you a host to? Viruses. So let's draw some viruses in here. I don't care how you draw them. Just draw some boogers in here that are not nice. There's some viruses. We're not talking about viruses in here, but you've heard the word, I'm sure. Coronavirus. If you are called a host cell, that means the virus is in you, and you have a few minutes to live. The host is toast, is what we say in microbiology. If you're infected, the cell will die. There's a couple ways around that, but the way around it is more horrible than being killed. So this guy's going to be dead in a few minutes. His neighbor is fine right now, but this virus is right next door, and if I don't do anything about it, the virus is going to get me next. So this story is about the host saving the neighbor. It's not about the host saving himself. And that is the only real mistake on this test, on interferons. The host is not trying to protect itself. It's trying to protect all the cells around it so they won't get infected next. So it says that kind of, but let's fill in the story here. So there's some viruses. I've got minutes before this thing gets in here and rewrites my DNA and turns me into a virus factory, and the cell will be dead. It will be turned into a virus factory and then die. But before it gets me, I have a few minutes. I'm going to craft from my DNA a protein very, very quickly called an interferon. And there he is. I'll make an interferon protein. It's a protein. See the title? Antiviral protein. So there's a protein. Remember that IFN is not going to go up to the top and kill that virus. That's not what happens. You don't kill viruses that way at all. They're not even living. You can't kill them at all, actually. So what I'm going to do is ship this to the neighbor and warn him, hey, here's an IFN. You know what that means? That means I'm infected. And if you don't do something, like right now, you're going to be infected in a few minutes as well. So here's what the neighbor will do. So he gets the IFN message. Again, the interferon doesn't do anything to actually interfere with the virus itself. The name kind of is misleading. It just warns the neighbor to do something. Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. Oh my God, here it comes. It's coming. But I've been warned. So there's a race here, a real fast race. As quickly as I can, I'm going to get that message and I'm going to crank out my own proteins as fast as I can. These are called AVPs, antiviral proteins. AVPs. You only make those AVPs if you got warned with an interferon. And then these AVPs will block somehow that attack. To keep it super, super simple. Even though that doesn't really explain it all, you can answer all the questions on all the tests about these just with that information. So big points, interferon is made by the host to warn its neighbor to make other proteins to protect itself. But the interferon itself doesn't actually interfere with the viruses at all. It's an indirect interference. Okay, that's the interferon story. Can't ask 20 things about it, but I'll ask, one or two. And you just learn them. Got it. That's a little picture that shows something very similar to what I showed. A little more complicated, but same concept. Read through it, make sure it matches what you just drew. And you got your interferon done. Go, next. Complement, the hardest part on test number 2 will be this complement section. There's probably 7 or 8 complement questions, and most people miss all of them because they don't prepare for them. It's one of those things where if you just kind of know it, you don't know it at all, and you end up making so many mistakes. So I'm going to show you this complement system. I told you a minute ago, no one had heard this before, or at least didn't